Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Real Estate Matters. For over 11 years, the voice of real estate in Flagler County and Palm Coast, Florida. Welcome to the quiet side of Florida. We thank our sponsors. Lead sponsor is Veranda Bay, a private developing community of lots and luxury homes on the Intercoastal Waterway with a Flagler Beach address, featuring custom homes by Olson Homes, AR Homes by Arthur Ruttenberg, ICI Homes, and Hulbert Homes. And two new sections have just opened up for Dream Finders and Toll Brothers. You can learn a lot about Veranda Bay by going to their website, which is verandabay.com. It's a beautiful community. It's a mile long community. It's a mile along the Intercoastal Waterway. One of the last places along the East Coast where you can build that much, where you have that much space along the Intercoastal. We're also sponsored by the Flagler County Home Builders Association. And by the way, Anna Maria Long, my co-host, who works at the Flagler County Home Builders Association, is off today. Hammock Community Church, where you can find me every Sunday morning at 11 on A1A in the Hammock. That's small enough to know you, but large enough to serve you. North of the toll bridge, mile and a half north of the toll bridge, with a message sign out front. So, but it's not all Hammockians that go to the church over there. A lot of people that live this side of the river, including me, pay the toll and go over every Sunday. It's a great church. So anyway, we have a guest. Instead of having Anna Maria, we have Eddie Herrera. Eddie is the co-founder and CEO of Alliance Financial Partners, which is a well-known local wealth management company. And that's going to lead into our topic as soon as I go through some mid-month statistics. Now, these are, as you know, single-family homes sold via the Flagler MLS system so far as of, and we're recording on Wednesday this week. So today is the 19th for us. It'll be the 22nd when you hear us. So these are as of today numbers: 121 single-family homes, Flagler address homes, with a median price of $375,000, and that compares to a year ago in November, when a total of 144 homes were closed with a price of $363,995. So you can see the number of homes is tracking as it did in September and October above last year, and the median prices as well are tracking above last year. And not just a few $1,000s. It's a substantial difference. Days on market so far this month, 52 days on market, which seems to be trending down a little bit. We're certainly seeing some health coming back into the market. Tracking the 250,000 in lower prices, if 5 of those have sold, only 1 for cash, but days on market at that end of the market, 21 days. So there's still, if you're down in that price range selling, it's a good time to be in the market. $1 million plus homes, 4 have closed. 2 of those were for cash. Days on market, a little higher than usual, 178 days. More recently, we've noticed that the $1 million homes are selling faster than the average home. 1,223 homes are listed. That's down from 1,252 just a week ago. And the number of homes listed exceeded 1,400 in both June and July. So we're, people who think we have a glut of homes on the market are just responding to apparently social media is where they're getting their news. Mm-hmm. They're not getting it from MLS. Homes pending, 330, and that's up from 317 last week. That's a good sign. 5.2 months of inventory. That's down from over 6 just a couple of months ago. That's a good sign. The median price of homes pending, $388,445, and that's good. because we're running this month the closing price. So we don't know what the closing price is on the pending homes until they actually close. So we have to kind of impute. But if you look at the homes that have closed, they've closed at 97% of their most recent listing price. So if you take 97% of 388, 445, you're still in the ballpark of prices that are consistent with the last 3 months. And that's good. The Gindex, which was my invention several years ago, it's the ratio of pending homes to listed homes. And it was in July, it was 4.9. And by the way, the lower the number, the better, the stronger the market. So in July, it was 4.9. Now it's down to 3.95. It's this month it's under 4 for the first time in over a year. All good. So just observations. The local market is showing definite signs of strengthening. September and October both surpassed last year, both in the number of homes sold and in the median selling price. November's on track to do the same. even though the slowest 6 months of home closings over the past 20 years have been the months from September through February. So what I'm saying is September, October, November are coming in strong at a time of the year when we don't typically expect strong sales. On the permitting side, the builder side, our largest local national builder, that doesn't sound right, does it? They're a national builder that builds locally, a lot of homes locally. D.R. Horton, they're back for the last 3 or 4 months. They've been real quiet on pulling permits. They just pulled a bunch of permits so far this month and have applied for a bunch more. That's a good sign. So I think the general consensus is next spring, after the next rate cut, which we all expect in December, it's going to be a strong month for the housing market, at least locally. What do you think, Eddie?
Yeah, I'd agree. The Feds were a little gun shy of reducing rates for quite a while, and I know that the Fed chairman caught a lot of flack for holding off and trying to stimulate, the economy. But I think that overall, it looks like December is going to happen. So I would anticipate, and I would agree with you that the spring into the summer season should definitely be an uptick for home sales as the rates continue to drop.
So we'll segue into our major topic now. You and I talked on the phone about it this last week.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been saying for, at least a couple of years that we're transitioning our middle class into a rental society. And they're being pushed that way because housing has become so unaffordable for the middle class that it's just the only other option is you either live in the woods or you rent. And most of them, these are people that have full-time incomes. They're raising families. They're not homeless, but they just houses are. The cost of new housing is out of line with current income levels.
Mm-hmm.
So when the American dream has always been buy a home, and it's an emotional thing, a mental thing as much as it is a financial thing. Lots of strong reasons. It's just historically the way we've looked at housing in the U.S. forever.
Sure.
But housing has gotten increasingly expensive for lots of reasons.
Mm-hmm.
The cost of materials has gone up. Cost of construction has gone up. The cost of permitting has gone up. We just had another increase recently in Palm Coast in impact fees.
Mm-hmm.
The regulations, cost of government regulations, the National Home Builders Association recently did a study, and They estimate that 90 to, I think it's in the 90 to $100,000 range out of the price of a home is caused by the government regulations.
Wow, that much, huh?
Yeah. Well, if you just take Palm Coast as an example, because I mean it's a prime example. One of the ways to reduce the cost of construction is to build homes, whether it's the entire home, like a mobile home, or a modular home, or components of a home in a factory. And in the last 100 years, we haven't changed the way we build homes very much. We do now locally, instead of putting the roof up one board at a time, now they haul in a truckload of trusses, which speeds that up. Windows and doors are pre-hung now. And cabinets are pre-manufactured in a factory, but
Correct.
they don't manufacture the cement slab in a factory, or the sheetrock walls, or the walls don't come pre-wired.
Right.
Why would you say that is? Why are we so slow?
Well, I think that, I mean, if you look back to Hurricane Andrew, with all of the issues that Dade County was having with, the building codes being so lax. And then, of course, the hurricane came through and demolished, hundreds and hundreds of homes. And so, and that really, really put a new light on building codes in general. And so I know, I don't know if you knew this, but I'm a state licensed contractor. I built custom homes for 10 years here in Flagler from 2000 to 2010. And so I have a unique kind of a perspective when it comes to, but I specifically chose to get into custom homes. And one of the reasons is number one, was really kind of the creative side, being able to not mass produce something that like the DR Hortons and these others are doing, but starting from a blueprint and starting, and then at the end of it having, at the end of 9 months or 15 months, having a unique home that nobody else has. But I can tell you that with custom homes, because there's not, you're building it for the first time, so there's a lot of costs sometimes that. You have contingencies, things that just, you get price increases along the way, and you get different things. But I think generally, when you're looking at especially higher end homes, there's just a lot more involved with engineering, with wind load calculations, with where they're located.
And and that's regional. I mean, you don't have to worry about snow load on a roof.
Correct.
Here.
Right.
They don't worry too much about wind load on a roof in Rochester, New York.
No, right. That's true.
So it's different. Well, we have to take a quick break, folks. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. We have a guest today, Eddie Herrera. He's co-founder and CEO of Alliance Financial Partners, which fits our topic today. We're talking about what's happened to the American dream, and if home ownership may not be the future of the American dream. And I firmly believe that it will not be. I think in 25 or 30 years, we're going to be much more a rental society. I think the cost of housing is intractably high, and there's very little possibility that we're going to see it coming down. So then where do we look for building equity? Because the numbers are stark. The average net worth of a homeowner is over $400,000. The average net worth of a non-homeowner's recently reported $10,000.
Yeah.
And that's a huge difference. Now, it's not attributable just to home ownership per se, because the younger people make less money, they've accumulated less, and they're much more likely to be the renters. There are lots of reasons, but home ownership certainly has traditionally been the place where we build wealth. That's why it's called the American
American
Dream.
dream. Yep.
So we want to get to where will we be building wealth 30 years from now? But I want to explain why I'm pretty convinced that cost of homes is not going to go down. One of them, as we touched on before the break, there's location is important, but even within Flagler County, like Rochester, New York, is not the same as Palm Coast.
For sure.
They worry about snow load. We worry about wind load on a roof. But one of the ways to reduce the cost of building a home is to build it under controlled circumstances basically in an assembly line environment in a factory.
Yeah.
And that's where they build mobile homes and also modular homes.
Mm-hmm.
Modular homes can be, one or two or three or four modules that come in on a truck. And, Palm Coast doesn't have any areas zoned for mobile home communities, but it does. There's no prohibition against modular homes in the city of Palm Coast. But to my knowledge, there's only one modular home in the entire city.
Oh, is that right?
Of over 50,000 dwelling units, only one. I think it's in the W section, I'm told. But the reason is that Palm Coast has lots of architectural requirements in a home. You can't have a flat roof. Well, if you build a modular home in a factory with a peaked roof, you can't drive it under the bridges on the interstate. So that's why they put a very low slope on the roof of modular homes. So if you buy a modular home, you ship it here, you've got to take the roof off and on site build a peaked roof. Another requirement is you have to have exterior banding around windows and doors and around around the side. That's not typically on a modular home, so it's got to be added on site. You can't have a flat front end of the house. Your porch has to stick out with a roof over it. Mm-hmm. So basically we've redlined Palm Coast, but that's a national thing. Every county has several different jurisdictions within it. Mm-hmm. I don't think construction methods like 3D printing are they will always be an exception.
Sure.
They'll never be the rule for home construction. So that's why I feel that the cost of housing is intractable. There's a prejudice against multifamily. There's a prejudice against high density. So the local politicians bend to those prejudices. Mm-hmm. So, Eddie, how are we going to build wealth? How are our grandkids going to build wealth if they can't buy a house?
That's a great question. And my answer is not going to be popular, but it's accurate. And it starts, first of all, with spending less than you make. It starts with the consumer. We're of the society of I work hard, I deserve this, and a lot of people don't get into the fact of what things really cost. Like if you go, for example, go buy a car, with cars, I mean, people get so focused on the payment. What is the monthly payment? You're not buying a payment, you're buying a car. And they look at, so, mm-hmm. And it started off when I was buying a car, it was 48 months financing. Then it mm-hmm. creeped up to 60, 72, 84 months. Well, the cost of cars have gone up too. But people feel that they deserve to buy that $80,000 truck when they're making $60,000 a year. Mm-hmm. So this mentality of, well, I deserve or I want or I need, there's a big difference between wants and needs. And I think the consumer, and with marketing and social media, I mean, let's face it, every time you pick up your phone, you're trying to be sold something, and they keep the algorithm.
They're pushing the credit. The company that does the glass windshield replacement.
Oh, Safelight. Yeah.
Safelight used to, just 6 months ago, their ad was, you don't have to pay me a thing because those replacements are usually covered by the insurance company. Now their ad is, and you don't have to pay now. You don't have to pay.
Yeah, of course.
Buy now, pay later.
Yeah, and that's a
And
that's a
the
rabbit hole you
mentality.
don't want to go into either. But I can tell you sometimes I meet with clients, prospective clients, and first thing I'll do is kind of go over their whole financial picture. Say, what does your debt look like? What is your income? What is your retirement accounts? Kind of get an overall picture for them. And it's amazing how many people have credit card debt. And I talk more people out of investing.
At 20%
Oh yeah,
or more.
And I'll tell clients, I'm like, look, you're not ready to invest. You're not ready to come see me yet because you have $38,000 of credit cards on your balance sheet, and your average interest rate is 22%. I said, you don't need to be investing. You need to be sending as much money to those credit card balances. Because if you think about it, if you cancel a 22% interest rate on a credit card, you're canceling debt with zero risk. There's nowhere you can invest to get 22% guaranteed. So I will redirect people, say, look, you need to focus on getting rid of your credit card debt. But the bigger symptom of that, Toby, is that when people have credit card debt, that's a symptom of overspending. People are spending more than they're bringing in. And so part of this is going to be the consumer taking responsibility that they need to live below their means. And until we kind of grasp that, and it's hard to save, it's hard to invest, it's hard to put more money down when you're trying to buy a house with the cost of living, the cost of houses going up, but yet you don't have the money for the down payment because you're in debt.
And they're investing is one avenue. Another is, I mentioned the statistic of net worth of homeowners versus renters.
Sure.
I would like to see, and I'm sure I could find it somewhere, but what is the net worth of a small business owner versus a non-small business owner? If you there's a trend to not go to college now,
right?
Because the trades are paying as much and more as people are getting with. We had too many degreed people
Absolutely.
for the market.
Yeah.
And AI is magnifying that. AI is going to affect the white collar market faster than the blue collar market.
Absolutely. For
And
sure.
I'm way ahead of the curve. My intelligence has been artificial for years.
Okay. I'm not going to touch that.
No, but I think just look at the math. You get out of college, you learn a trade, and you'll be paid while you're not taking out a student loan to learn the trade.
Absolutely.
You're getting that, and you've got 4 years of work history by the time your brother graduates from college.
Mm-hmm.
You've got 4 years of raises and promotions that they don't have. And you've got 4 years of income.
Sure.
And if you build your own business and do it in the right field, that business can be your retirement account. It can be worth a lot more than the equity in a home.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been an entrepreneur since I was 12 years old. I used to mow lawns in my neighborhood, and with my BMX bike and pull a lawnmower behind and go mow lawns.
Mm-hmm.
And here I am at 57. We started Alliance Financial Partners 15 years ago. We're 15 years old today, and I've always worked. Thank you. I've always worked for myself, and I'm not a good working for a boss. I'd rather set my own. I don't want a ceiling, as far as what I can do, and that's just my DNA.
Well, we got to wrap it up, Eddie. Thanks for being here. Folks, I didn't intend to have the final answer here. Just I wanted to start the conversation because it's an important conversation, and we are going to have to find an answer to it.
Yes, we'll start with spending less than you make.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So, video podcasts of Real Estate Matters are now available on gotoby.com. Go to the homepage, click on podcasts at the top of the navigation bar. You can also get our new interactive development map there too. And if you have any questions or suggestions for Real Estate Matters or gotoby.com, reach out to me. You can find me at Toby. My email is toby@gotoby.com. My phone number is 386-931-7124. Mr. Eddie Herrera, thank you for being here. We'll have you back.
Thank you, Toby.
See
Pleasure
y'all
being
next
here
week,
tonight.
folks. Bye.